Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Thriving Talk. This is me, Tim, sitting down with my dad, Tinku Thompson, for another episode of Thriving Talk. Hope everyone has enjoyed the last episode. How are you doing today, Dad?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
A quick reminder to all our listeners, Thriving Talk is available on major platforms like iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. So today, we're going to talk about, will religious faith fade away? It's a little bit more of a different topic, but we're going to talk about this topic.
I want to tell you something before we start answering or you ask questions, Don't run and come up for this thriving talk because you sound like you're,
For everyone's reference, I just drank some water and came down, so that's why. Okay.
Let's go ahead. What was the topic you said?
Will religious faith fade away?
Oh man, that's a very interesting topic.
So, as my first question, I'm going to ask this question. Why is religious faith fading away?
Who told you that's just fading away?
Come on. Religious faith, there's many reports how people are losing their faith because people are either persecuting people or people are losing faith in Christ and in many different religions.
People are losing faith in different religion. Okay, I agree. There are some statistics, some reports which came recently which points to the fact that in some countries the Christian population is declining and there are other things going on, right? That's what probably, and then of course there are. But I won't say that in general the religious faith is fading, right? It's okay. Let's make some fundamental assumptions, right? So, who are religious people? Who believe in God? I'm going to make it very simple.
In a God.
Yeah, they believe in a God.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be the God of the Bible. There are many religions, many ways, and then some religions, they may not actually believe in a God, but there are polytheistic religion, pantheistic religion. There are different types of religions too, okay? And then out of that there are actually three religions which are theistic religion, which is Christianity, Islam and Jewish, where they believe in one God. And now let's talk about, there are some people who claim to be atheist, right? So what is atheist? Or atheism is the doctrine or belief that there is no God. So they don't believe that there is any God. Right?
So the evolution.
Yeah, they believe in evolution. There are other people also in some religious groups also people believe in evolution, but these people don't believe in any God. That they basically believe that there is no God, right? Okay. That's one. But an agnostic neither believes or disbelieves in a God or religious doctrine. They just say, we don't know, we're not sure. There may be or there may not be. Okay? So when we talk about religious faith fading away, there is a lot of dimensions to that, right? So I would say that if you look at one side, yes, absolutely, we see some statistics of things going away, especially in America. You see about how people are losing faith, and there are many reasons. Recently, I came across an article. There's an author who wrote a book which basically tells about three reasons why people are leaving faith, and there are things like that. But then we look at some other places where a lot more people are putting their trust in God. So there is a big movements going on across the world where a lot of people are putting their faith in God. So many times we don't get to hear that, and we only get to hear where there is a decline, somebody leaves the faith, all those things. But I still see a lot of reports where a lot of people have put their trust in God and who have accepted, let's say talk about Christianity, who have accepted Jesus as a personal savior. So I think, yes, in Western countries and other places, probably it's happening. But we cannot put a general statement by saying that across the world it's fading away, because some people thought it will happen, but it has not happened yet.
So you just got into that. We're talking about how religious faith will fade away. But for the people who really hold that faith, what makes religion so important to people?
Religion is important to people because of their faith in God, right? I'm going to talk from a Christian perspective that in Christianity, we believe that there is a God who created everything, and we are the handiwork of His, or we are His creation. We belong to Him. We are His children, and our faith is in Jesus Christ, who came into this world. So Christianity teaches that man sinned, fell away from God, or went away from God, and Jesus Christ was sent so that He can, save us. So those who put their trust in Jesus, they come to Lord, right? So let me just at this point maybe tell about what does it really mean to be a Christian actually. So Christianity is a way of life that results from believing in and following Jesus Christ, right? And Jesus Christ is a central figure whose life and work create the Christian faith. Now Jesus called people, and those who believed and were willing to lay down their priorities to follow Him became His disciples. So one key element in that, the statement I just said, is that people were willing to lay down their priorities to follow Jesus, right? So that's why it's very important. And after His resurrection and ascension, His disciples gathered together in congregation. It is called as a church, what we call today, in simple form. And Christians are those who believe in Jesus Christ and follow Him whatever the cost. So just like that, in every religion, those who have a full belief, trust, and conviction about their God, for them it is very important.
So there's this theory that if you get rid of religion, it will remove violence in the world, because if you see, religion causes many fights, because one religion against another religion, one side will say like their side is better, then the other side says their side is better. So will getting rid of religion remove violence?
Yeah, I've heard that, and recently also I came across it because of some violence which was happening between different religious groups, right? But in reality, I think getting rid of religion will get rid of human violence is a myth. I say that because communism in the Soviet Union, North Korea, etc., even today, like China, other places, they oppress people as they wanted to get rid of religion. But it did not put any end to the violence against humanity. It brought in a new form of violence. You look at what's happening in some of these countries like North Korea and other places. We hear from the reports and other things. So if people do not care about things that matter to them, then they would not fight over them, right? So everything people care deeply about, they tend to find it worth fighting for. So there are, of course, everybody has a freedom to practice what they believe, but at the same time, there is a mandate, or there is this belief in many religions that they need to share what they believe with others. So in Christianity also, Bible teaches that we should share the good news, gospel with other people. But it is not true that Bible teaches anyone need to force, enslave, or anything like that. Bible actually tells that if anybody wants to follow Jesus, it has to be a free will decision they have to make, right? There is no forced conversion to Christianity. All those things are told by people who don't actually understand what it is. Or if somebody even does that, I'm not even telling that people don't do it. If somebody does that, even that is actually fake, because Bible doesn't teach that there is something like, I cannot force you. I can tell you, right? I cannot force you, hey, you start believing in Jesus. So people have used Bible or, twisted things for their self-interest, but that is not true. But for a Christian, the hope is that Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, will one day put an end to everything, right? It says in Revelation 21 verse 4, talks about this experience. Now, let me come back to your actual question. So when there was this violence, people were tweeting like humanity wins, or things like that, right? Absolutely, humanity wins. But the problem is when people don't follow what Bible or what God has actually taught, that's what it triggers violence and everything. But some social experiments in the past have actually proven that getting rid of religion is going to bring another set of violence and immorality, which sometimes is much controlled under the influence of a religion. For example, Bible talks about non-violence. Bible teaches us not to harm anyone. There is ethical, moral standards and teachings in the Bible. But then if you don't even have that, the extent to which you go to oppress people is very bad. So today I actually read a news that there was this wedding going on in a country, and they were having the after wedding party. So there were it was a Christian wedding with, there were 15 pastors. So police came and arrested 15 pastors and the bridegroom and the bride. So 17 people were taken to the jail, right? So why does that happen? Were they doing something? They were just arrested because of their religious faith.
Wow.
So this just happened today. I read about that, right? So were they doing some conversion by marriage? No, two Christians are getting married. That's all. So what happens, or what is the thing is, if we get rid of things then it will create new problems.
So, from a Christian standpoint, is Christianity the only true religion?
Yeah, for a Christian, it should not be viewed as a religion, right? I always tell this, that there are many religions. Of course, Christianity is also seen as a religion for anyone who is looking at it, but for a believer of Christ, it is a relationship with Christ. So real Christianity does not work like other religions where you have to do certain things to gain something. But in Christianity, God took the initiative to save mankind, and Jesus came into this world. And now our life is based on a relationship and not based on some obligations we do. So Bible actually tells that in order to be saved, you have to believe upon Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So for a Christian, they would say yes, just like anyone else will say. But yes, absolutely, Bible teaches that salvation is only found in the name of Jesus.
So, what is the minimum requirement to be a Christian?
Minimum requirement to be a Christian, we should not operate on the concept of a minimum requirement, right? We have the right, we have to have the right beliefs and also need to have the love for God in life. The true relationship should be growing while we maintain the right orthodoxy, beliefs, etc. Right? We need to do what we need to do. And we will have shortcomings in life, but we can overcome them by the grace of God. We should be pointing others of the wrongs, but we should not be judging other people. So I would say let's not operate on a minimum requirement. Of course, there is, you have to be saved, you have to take baptism. There are certain things which you need to do, but at the same time, there is nothing called as this is your lowest denominator. You have to follow up to this mark to get into heaven or anything like that.
You said about judging others. Does it mean to not get angry at someone or does it mean
It's not about getting angry. So basically, passing judgment on others, Bible clearly tells that's not good. Like if I see something wrong, which is wrong, I can tell you in love, but I should not be like, oh, you are like this, you are like that. Especially when I myself have that shortcoming in my own life, that I should not be doing that.
So how do we make sure our faith in Jesus Christ doesn't fade away?
Yeah, our faith in Jesus Christ, first of all, we need to have that relationship with Christ, right? So this is not a, I normally say it's not a Sunday, one day a week deal, right? There are many Sunday Christians who come to church on Sunday and they think that's enough. They have done their obligation for the week. No, it's a daily relationship with God, and you need to grow in it. But I want to come back to few things here. because you were asking about the fading away of religious faith, right? I want to actually address one more aspect of it. So there was this question that will secularism make Christianity die as a society becomes more modern too, right? Because we see like a lot of enlightenment, a lot of education and everything, and there is a thought that that will actually make people move away from even not even Christian faith, from faith, religious faith itself. But I will tell you that when you read the history, you see that there were many who thought Christianity will die as a result of secularism or secularization of the society. It did not happen. In fact, Christianity has grown. There was this French philosopher, Auguste Comte, who claimed to have discovered a law that humanity progresses through three stages. He said the religious, the metaphysical, and the scientific. So, and many wished it will happen, but then they thought educated people will no longer believe in God or religion. Many who once left faith have returned now, and we see growth in the number of people who have faith now, because your initial question was, is it fading away? But so it has not worked as people expected. And if the God whom we serve is true God, when I say that, I'm not challenging God, but what I'm trying to say is, then this is not going to happen. But if it's all a myth, this should have been gone away, because we have been seeing some great scientific advancements for many years now.
So it should have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, I think we should not be talking here about Bible or Thriving Talk. We should be talking about going to Mars or something else by now, which we don't deny. But at the same time, what I'm trying to say is there is another side to it too. And another aspect I want to say, a lot of people think that science and Christianity is contrary to each other. It's a huge, big topic to talk about. But then in a small manner, I would say that most of the accusations were a myth, that the Christianity opposed science, So two Christians never claimed that the earth was flat. That is one accusation that Bible tells, that Christians told that the earth was flat, and until science discovered it's not. In fact, even before Jesus' time, it was believed that Jesus was round. Then there were many scientists who are Christians.
Jesus was round.
Huh?
Jesus was round.
Not Jesus was round. Earth was round.
Oh.
Even before Jesus' time, there were people who believed. That's what I'm saying. Did I say Jesus?
Yeah.
No, I said Jesus' time. Okay. Anyway, thank you for correction. I don't want anybody to misunderstand. So there's have you heard Sir Isaac Newton?
No, I don't think so.
You haven't? Okay. So you should do a research on who was Isaac Newton. Okay, he was a Christian. And maybe next episode you should first tell me what were the inventions which he did, and what was his contribution to the humanity.
Is he that famous or something?
Absolutely, Isaac Newton, yeah.
Okay.
So Christianity have been involved and have appreciated, some of the scientific discoveries. So it's not like Christianity and science cannot go hand in hand.
Work together.
Yeah, and so for a Christian or for a child of God, coming back to your question, I brought these points in so that we should not think that everyone will lose faith and all. No, there are a lot of people who know, who have educated, who have studied, who have done research, who have done all those things, but still they believed in God. Neil Armstrong, who landed on the moon first, he was based on what I know, he was a strong believer in God. He believed even after going all that far, right? Seeing the glory of the space and everything, So there are many, many, many people like that. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but there are many people who still believe, even though they have been exposed and they have understood a lot of things. Even a lot of people have put their faith more in God after understanding how complicated our body is made up of, the mechanics, all the processes which are going on in our body. So it's never, easy to say. Yeah, some people may wish and they may think that it is going to happen, but the reality is it's not that. So we need to have that strong faith in God and then have that relationship. Don't see this as a religious experience. This is more a relational experience. And when we have that, our faith will not fade away. And when we are challenged, we should process that. It's not like, I don't think we should be afraid to talk about tough, challenging things. If there are some specific scientific or whatever it could be, questions of life, or anything which challenges our faith, we should actually look into the Bible, study some about it, and figure out what's going on, so that we ourselves can find out that our beliefs are correct. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to follow something which is not truthful and which does not hold truthful in all circumstances.
So, how would you summarize this topic? Or
To summarize, I think your fundamental question was, will religious faith fade away, right?
yeah.
I don't believe that. In fact, I was a person who did not believe in God at one point of time in my life, and then I came to believe in God. So I'm sure there are a lot of people like that, millions of people. So, and the other thing I have found is, if you are a true believer of Jesus Christ, if you're a true follower, and who follows the Bible, I'm not talking about everyone who has a Christian name or who call themselves as Christian. I'm not talking about those people. But if you truly understand the Bible, it actually talks about leading a good, moral, ethical life, which doesn't harm anybody, which is good for others. But the sad part is, many people don't want to do that. And some people, because of the sinfulness, they just don't want to oppose God. And it has happened from the beginning itself. And that's why many people will leave faith, so that they can do what their sinful nature wants to do. So in summary, what I would say is, yes, if you are a child of God, if you're a believer and you are hearing that religious faith will fade away, everything is going to collapse or anything, I doubt it, or I don't believe that, because if God is real, He's going to intervene, and God's hand will be experienced by people, as I experienced in my own life over many years. And so it will continue to be like that. And we don't need to really lose sleep or think that, because sometimes people take things on their own hands and they want to do a lot of things. But we have to understand that we don't need to protect God. He's all powerful, right? Yeah. We don't have to fight in that sense, but we just need to do what God has called us to do.
So thank you for sharing, and many things I've heard from this episode have actually surprised me. But so thank you for sharing, and I hope to all the listeners, this episode was useful, so everyone can learn more about what are all these things. So to everyone, thank you for listening. In the coming weeks, we will be coming back with more Dadson editions of Thriving Talk, and I'll be asking more questions. As we said in the beginning, this episode is available on many different platforms. Do not forget to follow or subscribe to the Thriving Talk podcast on your favorite platform to receive new episodes as they get released. Also remember that my dad has a weekly newsletter now in which he shares a lot of good information. The link to the newsletter is in the show notes. Feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. We'll be back, but until then, remember that we need to have and keep our strong faith in Jesus Christ and continue to grow in God.
Yeah, let me also tell our listeners that the next episode with me and Tim would be in the new year, 2023.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we will have, after this episode, we'll have 2 more episodes, but that I have done with some other people. One is on Christmas traditions and some backstory around those things, and then other one would be on the new year and resolutions and decisions. Yeah. So that will come out before this year 2022 ends. And not probably, if God willing, we will be back in the first week of January with the next episode. So we get a little break here, or you get a little break here, and hopefully we'll come back with a topic which will be interesting. Do you have anything in mind right now?
Yeah, as a little idea, we were planning to do as our next topic. We were planning to do stay productive.
Oh, that would be a good one starting in the new year. Or okay, I will try to maybe talk about goal setting and everything as we discussed in the last episode about not being lazy. Yeah. So what I will do is I will try to maybe share some things. Yeah.
So I guess I'll see everyone in 2023 then.
Yeah, you would listen. And then to all our listeners, I know it's a holiday season, and wish you all the best, and pray that God will keep you all safe and strong. and have a good time, and we'll see. Thank you.